Today we will be unboxing and assembling our Booster and Commander 1300 foil kits. To assemble your foil kit, we'll start by opening the bag and taking the components out. You can begin with the front wing and the fuselage, which are located on the bottom half of the bag. The hardware kit, which is located on the top half of the bag, as well as the rear stabilizer. You'll notice that the mast and collar are pre-assembled, so this is a piece that you don't need to put together out of the box. I find that when assembling your foil kit, it's easiest to begin with the lower assembly. That means the front wing, the rear stabilizer, and the fuselage. The way I like to do it is I will turn the front wing over. You'll notice that it is an asymmetrical interface with the fuselage into the wing. So you'll just slide it into place. Then you'll go to your hardware kit. The hardware kit is basically everything you'll need to put the foil kit together and then mount it to your board. So you'll start with your M8 by 25. There's 4 M8 by 25 screws. These are the largest screws in the kit. You will use 1 and 2. I always hand tighten until I get to the point where I need to use the key. An important part to remember, you want to tighten the hardware till it's snug, but you want to be very careful not to over tighten. So we'll select the M8 key. We'll get them snug, and then I will make sure that I've got enough torque on them to where they are nice and locked into place. I will then flip the assembly over and move to the rear stabilizer. The rear stabilizer uses the 2 M8 by 16 screws, the shorter screws. And just like the front wing, I will hand tighten these just to the point where I need to move on to my key. Get them nice and snug. And then tighten each until it's at a point of resistance. Again, being careful not to over tighten because these are composite parts, so you don't want to tighten them down too snugly. So that is your rear assembly. You have your front wing, your fuselage, and your rear stabilizer all set up. Screws are in place. We'll now put the mast and collar into place. One of the best ways that I've found to do this is to stand your mast and collar kind of vertical, and then you will be placing the fuselage on top. Usually it'll stay, but you always want to stay close by because you don't want it to fall off. You'll then use the remaining 2 M8 by 25 screws, and you will hand tighten. And then go ahead and grab your key. This is an aluminum to aluminum interface as far as the mast into the fuselage, so you can put a little bit more tension. And there you have it. Your foil assembly is complete. Something important to note, you'll notice that I'm using the Commander 1300 in this video. The Booster 1300 is the same assembly instructions. All the components and hardware are exactly the same. So if you have a booster foil, go ahead and just follow these instructions exactly as I did them with the Commander foil. Now we come to the foil assembly to the board itself. You'll notice that in the hardware kit you have 4 M6 screws. These are M6 by 16 screws. It's a smaller size screw than the assembly screws, so you don't get confused as to which screws go to assembly versus mast, foil to board. First thing I like to do is kind of eyeball the T-nut position in the board. It's a little easier to get the screws lined up and get everything assembled, so I'll kind of make sure that the T-nuts are at the proper distance for the collar. I then take the foil, turn it upside down, kind of again just visually line everything up. Now that I have the collar kind of in place on the board, I use my M6 key as kind of a guide to make sure that the T-nut is aligned with where I want the screw to drop. I'll take the M6 by 16 screw and drop it into the collar and into the T-nut. It is important to note that when I assemble the foil kit, I like to keep the hardware loose at first. That way it allows you some fore and aft adjustment. All right, so now that you have all the hardware in place and still loose, you can adjust your foil collar as to where you would like it seated on the board. You can watch some of our other videos as far as placement goes for recommended boat speeds, body sizes, things like that. Once I have it seated exactly where I want it, I make sure that I get the hardware nice and snug. This is a aluminum to aluminum interface again, so you can go a little bit snugger with this hardware. And there you have it. The Commander kit mounted to the Ute board, utilizing the hardware provided. Hope you have a great time on the water.